Every desire you've ever abandoned was halfway to becoming real. You felt the spark of wanting something, held it for a day or a week, then watched it dissolve into doubt. The missing piece was never more effort. By the end of this, you'll understand the single law that governs why some intentions materialize and others die on the vine. The Hermetic tradition, passed down through the Kabbalion and the ancient Egyptian mystery schools, names 7 principles that govern the universe. The 7th, gender, is the least discussed and the most misunderstood. Most people hear gender and think biology. The Hermetists meant something far older and more universal, that every act of creation on every plane of existence requires 2 forces working together. An active force that initiates, a receptive force that gestates and gives form. One without the other produces nothing. A seed without soil is a decoration. Soil without a seed is just dirt. This principle operates in your mind every single day, whether you recognize it or not. Your conscious mind generates intention. It selects, it directs, it chooses what to focus on. That's the active masculine aspect of thought. Your subconscious mind receives that intention, accepts it as instruction, and begins organizing your inner world around it. That's the receptive feminine aspect. Creation happens at the meeting point, only there. When these 2 aspects of your own mind align on the same idea, reality reshapes itself around that agreement. So, why do most intentions fail to materialize? Because the active force sends one signal and the receptive force holds a contradictory one. You consciously declare, "I am abundant." Meanwhile, a deeper layer of your mind, the part that absorbed decades of conditioning, holds the quiet conviction that money is hard to come by. The conscious intention enters the subconscious like a seed tossed onto concrete. The soul refuses it. The receptive principle needs to actually accept the impression for creation to begin, and acceptance means genuine belief, held in the body, felt as natural. Neville Goddard built his entire teaching around this mechanism. He described imagination as the active force and feeling as the receptive one. You construct an image of your desire fulfilled. That's the masculine act of initiation. Then you sink into the feeling of that image being real, letting it saturate your awareness until it becomes as familiar as a memory. That's the feminine act of reception. Goddard insisted that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret. The image alone, without the feeling, is just daydreaming. And feeling without a clear image is emotion without direction, powerful but shapeless. Think about a time you worried about something that eventually happened. You probably weren't trying to manifest it, but the principle operated anyway. Your mind held a vivid image of the feared outcome. Your body responded with genuine feeling. Your chest tightened, your stomach dropped. The scenario played on repeat until it felt inevitable. Active intention paired with receptive belief. The union was complete, and reality conformed. The terrifying part is how effortlessly you manifest what you fear. Worry is accidentally perfect manifestation technique. Now consider what that reveals about the creative process itself. You already know how to do this. You've done it thousands of times, just usually in the wrong direction. The discipline of conscious creation is learning to do deliberately what you've been doing unconsciously, with every fear, every assumption, every expectation you've carried, without questioning it. The Kabbalion describes the masculine principle as the I, the aspect of mind that declares, wills, and projects outward. The feminine principle is the me, the aspect that receives, generates, and brings forth into form. Both exist within every person, regardless of physical gender. Both exist within every atom, every thought, every act of creation from the cosmic to the mundane. A painter conceives a vision, then surrenders to the process of letting it emerge through brush and canvas. The vision is active, the surrender is receptive. If the painter only plans and never paints, the vision stays trapped. If the painter only moves the brush without inner vision, the result is chaos. You've experienced this tension yourself. There's a goal you hold in your mind right now, something you've been actively pursuing, and somewhere beneath your effort, a quiet resistance hums. A feeling that says, this will take a long time, or that you'll have to struggle, or that people like you don't get things like that. That resistance is the receptive mind rejecting the seed your conscious mind keeps planting. Every morning you affirm the desire. Every afternoon your deeper mind whispers its counter-narrative. The 2 forces work against each other, and the result is stagnation, a life that feels like running on a treadmill. The work then is alignment, and alignment requires patience most people underestimate. You can't force the subconscious to accept a new belief through repetition alone. Repeating "I am wealthy" 100 times while feeling broke is like shouting at soil to grow faster. The receptive mind responds to state, to feeling, to the quality of consciousness you bring to the impression. Goddard's technique of sleeping in the feeling of the wish fulfilled works precisely because the boundary between conscious and subconscious thins at the edge of sleep. The active mind quiets. The receptive mind opens. An impression planted in that fertile twilight takes root in ways that 1,000 daytime affirmations cannot match. But even this technique fails when approached with desperation. Desperation carries its own signal. It tells the subconscious that the desired state is distant, that you're reaching for something you lack. The receptive mind reads the emotional signature beneath your words, and that signature says scarcity. So scarcity is what gets accepted and expressed. The Hermetists understood that the quality of the active force determines what the receptive force can produce. A frantic intention produces frantic results. A calm, assured intention, one that feels like remembering rather than wanting, produces something solid. This is where most people give up. The gap between planting the seed and seeing the harvest feels like evidence that the process failed. 3 days of faithful imagination, then a week of doubt. The receptive mind receives both impressions. Whichever one you sustain longest, with the deepest feeling, is the one that wins. Manifestation has a gestation period, just like biological creation. The Hermetic Principle of Gender includes this truth. The feminine aspect operates on its own timeline. You plant the seed, you maintain the conditions, you wait. Pulling up the seed every few days to check for roots kills the process. There's a counter-argument worth addressing honestly. Some people hear this teaching and think it means ignoring reality. Just feel good and pretend problems don't exist. That criticism misses the depth of what the Hermetists taught. The principle of gender operates alongside the other 6 principles: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect. They all work together. Aligning your inner masculine and feminine forces doesn't mean bypassing the physical plane. It means working with the deeper mechanics that the physical plane emerges from. You still act, you still move through the world. The difference is that your actions flow from an inner state of completion rather than from a frantic attempt to chase down what you believe you lack. The union of active intention and receptive belief creates a specific internal condition. Goddard called it the state. Once you enter a state fully, once the active mind has declared it and the receptive mind has accepted it, you begin to perceive differently. Opportunities you would have missed become visible. Conversations shift. Decisions that would have felt risky now feel obvious. The outer world reorganizes around the inner agreement because, according to Hermetic law, the two were never separate to begin with. As above, so below. As within, so without. The principle of correspondence guarantees that the inner union will express itself outwardly. Your mental diet, the habitual thoughts you feed your receptive mind throughout the day, is the ongoing act of creation that shapes your entire life. Every assumption you carry is a union of intention and belief already operating. The assumption that mornings are hard. The assumption that your body works a certain way. The assumption that certain people will always treat you a particular way. Each one is an active thought that your subconscious accepted at some point, and the two forces have been producing that reality faithfully ever since. Changing your life means dissolving old unions and forming new ones. It means consciously choosing an intention, then doing the patient inner work of bringing your feeling nature into agreement with it. The active mind initiates, the receptive mind gestates. Creation occurs at their meeting point, in the silence where wanting transforms into knowing. You've been creating your entire life through this principle. Every circumstance you inhabit right now is the offspring of a previous union between what you intended and what you believed. The only question is whether the next union will be conscious or accidental. Tonight, as you close your eyes, hold one image. Just one. Feel it as already accomplished, as already yours, as already behind you. Let your active mind choose it with precision. Let your receptive mind accept it with the same ease it accepts a memory. The two will meet in that quiet space. And from that meeting, something will begin to grow, in the dark, in the silence, on its own schedule. Your only job is to stop digging up the seed.